Idealism is one of the oldest philosophies, dating back to Plato in 1400 BC. It asserts that reality, at its core, is mentally constructed. This means that ideas are the only true, enduring reality, and the material world is uncertain, changing, and at times even detrimental to man. They also assert that the individual self is a part that can only be meaningful when viewed as part of a larger context. Throughout the centuries, there have been various philosophers who have contributed to the school of idealism, but key among them would be Plato, who proposed an education that encouraged society to strive for good and truth, where outstanding people could serve as models, and with a curriculum that leads intelligent students from concrete data towards abstract thinking. And for those who showed little ability for abstractions, to go into pursuits that would instead assist in the practical aspects of running. In the 15th century, Immanuel Kant espoused rationalism, which explores the truth of both pure reason and practical reason. Then, later on, you have more modern philosophers like Gentile, who espouses self-realization as education's ultimate aim. These are some of the key theories of idealism that help build the idealism model for educational philosophy. Here we see a comic that satirizes idealism's basic beliefs. The aim of education should be to develop the mind, enlarge horizons, and stimulate reflective thinking, but also to search for things of lasting value and truth rather than material studies. This means a holistic approach towards everything and focusing on wider understanding of the world than specific technical or occupational skills. The third aim of idealism as an education is to develop the student's steadfast characters and morality. This means accepting human civilization's values, as well as teachers providing opportunities to apply this knowledge to moral and social problems. The basis of this goes all the way back to Socrates' idea of action based on reflection, Kant's categorical imperative, wherein one should never act in a manner other than how one would have all other people act, and the philosopher Horne's education of the will, which means you must resist temptation and apply yourself to useful tasks. The idealist curriculum places emphasis on the study of history and reading biographies, so that we can find the truths on which to model our present behavior. We also need to focus on humanities, literature, and philosophy to understand man. Key here would be to select materials that deal with the ideal man and ideal society. Most often, the books referenced are the great books, such as the Bible, Moby Dick, books that espouse the truths, since the idealist wants to see the entire and absolute pattern of life through history and the humanities as the most important subjects. Modern idealists lament the fact that modern classrooms focus on rules and facts, specialization of jobs, surveying pieces of information with no human concern and no depth. They argue that any contemporary problem has roots in the past and can thus be solved through idealism's methods of teaching. The first way is to approach learning with a holistic view, seeing everything as a whole rather than a disjointed collection of parts. But however, natural sciences are still useful, but optimized especially when they are related to the larger picture. The second method is the Socratic method, which uses dialectic thinking. It involves critical discussion, posing a thesis and an antithesis in order to come up eventually with a synthesis. This method should stimulate critical thinking, illuminate ideas, and allow discussion and dialogue between teacher and student. Corollary to this is the lecture method we often see in college classrooms today, focusing on stimulating rather than conveying information. For example, some teachers discourage note-taking in order to encourage students to just focus on the dialogue in class. The philosopher St. Augustine believed that Plato's search for goodness and truth is actually a search for God. The method for learning should then be through intuition and revelation, rejecting materialistic concerns in order to open yourself to God's revelations. While the previous methods were for the older students, idealists believe that idealism can and should still be used in lower levels. Here you can focus on broad concepts rather than specific skills in order to prepare them for when they get to more substantial studies. Children can even already develop conceptual ability even with nursery tales. The sixth method of teaching is to allow self-directed activities like projects, library research, and artwork that stimulate learning even when the teacher is not present. However, this should always still be related to the subject topic. The marking system should rank students on absolute values, which is as close to the truth as possible and with the highest standards, instead of today's relative grading. To manage the classroom, the teachers should use positive examples. When one misbehaves, the teacher asks the wrongdoer what he thinks would happen if everyone behaved as he did, allowing the student to use his critical reasoning skills. In idealism, the teacher is one of the most important facets of education. He should then be an exemplary person who is close to the truth and can be a good role model for the students. Students can then learn by imitation, and they should have no problems with classroom management. Teachers should also be able to create learning methods rather than imitate methods for teaching. The role of the student is to embody the will to perfection, to aim for the best, and continuous improvement with his studies. Today, idealism faces many critics who question whether this educational philosophy is still relevant in our modern classrooms. They say that idealism stunts progress in the face of new technology. Idealism has also declined along with the decline of traditional religion and is accused of leaning towards intellectual elitism, making it unavailable for the masses. However, idealists argue that the Bible, for example, deals with problems of war and bigotry, and many great books tackle problems we have today. Our failure to deal with current problems are not from a lack of facts or ideas, but from a failure to understand things from the vantage point of great and encompassing ideas as espoused by idealism. Thank you.